Scotty has 6 brothers. 4 of them are adopted. If you look hard enough, you'll always find some reason to be mad. And Spock sees plants. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Sirach Lofton.
Hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are doing a review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 4 already. Episode 3, Human Best Friend, written by Catherine Lynn, directed by Yana Gorskaya. How you doing today, Sirach?
Good. Doing good. Catherine Lynn.
So, everybody make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for notifications. If you're listening in, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. We'd really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And visit us at patreon.com/the7th-rule to support the show and join this fun community. Sirach, this is now episode 3 of Strange New Worlds. I'll give you a hint. I mentioned the plants at the top. That did make me laugh. What'd you think of this one?
Well, this to me is like, it's a little bit of character development for Ortega, so that was good. This is one of those, I feel like, filler episodes, It's also Strange New Worlds take at a shore leave episode, a Ryza type situation or something like that. I thought that was clever, that they were going to a planet that had a gaseous atmosphere that would kind of be like a laughing gas that you would get from the doctor's office or the dentist's office or something,
Right.
So I thought, oh, that's clever because that's actually possible, right? I mean, if you had, you breathe in some helium and all of this other stuff, you'll get some reactions to it. So I thought, oh, that just in a scientific way. I thought, oh, that's clever. That's clever. You go to a planet, it's got its atmosphere is in such a way that it causes a lightheadedness, dizziness, whatever.
It caused a lot.
At first, I was like, what the hell's going on? That planet should have been called Amsterdam because it looked like they had everything going on over there.
I thought the planet should be called High School, but yeah.
Okay. There was a mushroom kind of effect when they first opened the cargo doors. And I was like, whoa, what are they on shrooms or something? Or is that the effects that it gives you? And it was weird. I mean, it was interesting. It was interesting kind of the storyline. Something I didn't expect, to be honest with you. So it was
yeah, I had a lot of thoughts there too. And I did think of mushrooms too, by the way, because right when you see it, I forget whose point of view you see it from, but it had like a weird lens going on and like the weird sound hitting in.
And the color effects, the kind of colors.
Yeah. And it immediately, maybe I'm oversharing, but it immediately.
Not that I've ever done mushrooms, guys.
I know.
This is all off of what I've seen.
I was going to say it immediately made me feel nostalgic. I was like, oh man, that is. Oh boy, that's the good old days from last Tuesday. Let me tell you. way back till then.
Way back.
Yeah, but that was cool. I also really liked just that effect because it immediately puts you in that headspace.
Yeah.
It immediately makes you feel like, whoa, I'm discombobulated myself. Like, right? Especially, I think it was the sound that did it for me. It was like the fact that it sounded like you're in a fishbowl or something like that. So that was cool. It was a nice effect, and I like what they did with it because it does put you in that feeling. It does set the mood for you. Now, it didn't stay there very long, but it makes you see it from their point of view where it's kind of jarring and instantaneous. And maybe it's a little too early to bring this up, but I thought it was very irresponsible. A captain is bringing his entire crew to go get completely fucked up on a planet. What if they die? Like, what if they fly their shuttle and like that whole premise? That planet's got to be on so many lawsuits right now. So many.
Not if you read the fine print in the micro print on the contracts.
Because it's got to be crashing cars and shuttles non-stop. Everybody's messed up and they all have terrible judgment, clearly. It's not like they're just chilling and relaxed. Like, everybody is making horrible decisions. They don't remember anything. What? How is everybody not dead? Like, just killing each other. La'an was about to kill everybody.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't think about that part. In my head, I guess I already made an excuse for that, even though they didn't say that's what it is. But in my head canon, it was this planet is somewhat of a hollow suite program in that there are safety parameters that exist that you can't get too injured, right? But speaking to your point, now that you know, that's something I just mentally put together. You know, it's like one of those weird things where you patch, you know, you're like, you just come up with a reason why you're seeing what you're seeing, but there's no real explanation, but I'm just giving myself one. But now, having said what you said, I'm thinking about, uh, didn't they show Scotty's thumb completely blown off?
Yeah,
Right?
this wasn't it last episode they showed something graphic too. Oh yeah, Pike was chopping his fingers off and now we got Scotty's thumb hanging. That did make me laugh too because I was like, wow, it was like such a little shock there, you know, where he's just like
He was like, I was just
I
holding
was
the
just
thing, right?
the thumb's just hanging there. That was pretty funny. That was pretty good.
There was a lot of pretty funny in this episode. I'm going to say, there were moments in this episode that I thought, oh, that's funny. Like, for example, when Spock came down and says, clearly I'm inebriated right now. And he looks so calm and cool. like, really? You look like the designated driver on this.
Yeah, Spock really killed it. Honestly,
he did.
Spock really killed it. We'll definitely talk about him. But
Yeah.
the idea of this planet is kind of like a Risa planet, but it's a get totally wasted planet. That was the one hard part for me. Was again, I just couldn't get past that a captain is okay putting his entire crew in jeopardy and himself. Like, it's not just like having a drink at the bar or relaxing
Or a
going to
holodeck
Vegas.
experience.
It's like
that.
they're getting completely blackout, no judgment, wasted. Where Scotty could have crashed the shuttle. La'an could have slaughtered 10 people. And then what? Okay, so she slaughtered 10 people. Well, now guess what happens? Now you're in jail forever. Pike could have told the guy to, you know, tattoo his eyeball. Like, who knows? I just, the whole thing just was like, what are you guys thinking here? And also, and I'll be done nitpicking after this, and then I'll just talk about all the enjoyment I had, because I actually really had a lot of good thoughts on this episode and had a really great time watching it. The other thing was, why did Pike say only Alpha Shift gets to go on this planet? That was so rude. He's like, all right, Alpha Shift is going on shore leave. What about the other shifts? They're like, well, can we at least get a turn after you guys get back? Can we then go and have fun? Or is it just your favorite shift? Your preferential treatment, just your favorite crew that you hang out with, that you cook breakfast for and cook dinner for and hang out with at the bar, and now you go on shore leave. Thanks, Captain, for playing very obvious favorites, right?
Well, yeah, the other shift has their own captain. You know, he's the beta shift captain. No, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But I see that it bothered you somewhat. You did not suspend. He did not suspend
no
all disbelief for this one.
I mean, just because one line would have just said, "Hey, okay, we're all gonna go have shore leave. Alpha Shift is first. We'll see you guys in a bit." That one little snippet, but then he was like, "Alpha Shift is going on shore leave." I was like, "Whoa, that is so rude." He's like, "Whatever, they're my favorites. Deal with it."
Yeah, and again, poor judgment to lead them to a place that all of those kinds of activities are happening, where basically people are out of their mind, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Spot thinks he's talking to himself, he's talking to plants. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he was on some ayahuasca or something else, but looked like he was on something. Looked like there was some smoke coming out of Ahura's room. I was like, that's the room to be
Yep, that was a smoke show to be sure.
in. she she had the smoke show in her room, and so I was like, hey, that looked like where the party is.
Yeah, that's where they'll find Jake.
Jake's in
Jake,
the
I know you're
Ahura
in there,
spot.
man. I know you're in there. You're not fixing the shuttle, bro. You're in there. You're in there.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to say, um, as far as those points you brought up, they're valid ones, and yes, I think it could have been explained away a little bit better inside of the story. Both that they were including everybody, and also that there was some kind of parameters that were set that didn't allow you to carry on so much that you were doing something illegal or killing other people or whatnot, right? So that would be a nice thing to kind of set into the narrative. But when you talk about an episode that, look, this show hasn't been afraid to take risks. They've really kind of pushed the boundaries with the playfulness of this show.
Right.
Remember, they did the musical, right? It was a whole musical episode
Oh
that
yeah.
they did.
Oh yeah.
And so to me, this kind of was like almost in the, I would put it in the category of that musical episode where it's a little bit strange. It's taking some risks here and there. Um, they played with the main character, the Deirdre, Deir,
I thought it was
yeah,
Dan Drew.
Dandrew.
Yeah, Dan Drew,
Yeah,
DeAndrew. We'll have to
yeah,
check that out because
but
since we're watching this kind of ahead of time, I didn't see there wasn't the subtitles at the bottom. We can't look it up, but I thought they said Dan Drew, like an Andrew, but with a D.
and I like that character because of some of the the lightness and the delivery of the lines of that character. Like I thought the actor who played Andrew was interesting because he had me interested. Like it seemed like he was the host that knew more than was letting on. Which kind of gave me a little bit of Quark vibes, with the whole like legalities of the
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Like, hey, it's on you. Sign this
Well,
waiver.
that there is Mr. Dave Foley. Dave Foley of Kids in the Hall fame. I don't know if you remember Kids in the Hall back in the day, but I sure do.
Oh yeah,
It was kind of like a
big
Saturday
show.
Night Live thing, yeah. And had some very memorable moments, and everybody loved him back in the days. Also in news radio. I never watched news radio, but I was aware of it, and I'm very aware of Dave Foley and his stellar career. He's just a really funny, cool guy, and it's
Yep.
about darn time that he's now in Star Trek. And by the way, everybody, by the time you are watching this on Thursday, August 6th, Dave Foley will be arriving at STLV that weekend. So you're going to watch this episode and be like, whoa, this is so cool. I'm going to go meet Dave Foley in 2 days. So that'll be really fun and really cool to have him at his very first Star Trek convention ever. And of course, people are going to love him because they loved Kids in the Hall. But I agree with you. I really liked his character. I really liked the makeup on him. I really liked the wardrobe on him. And I liked that he added something I would not have expected to the character. It's like he added some kind of seriousness to it, some kind of depth to it that I wouldn't have expected. You expect it to be a funny or, interesting or creepy or weird, but he added a little bit of like seriousness and depth and like, almost like he's reading into their souls or something. So I thought that was really cool, and I'm glad that he was able to kind of infuse that into this character that I would have thought on the page is strictly comedic. But he certainly did add more than just comedy to it. So I thought that was a really good performance on his part.
Yeah, and what did the vibes I got from his role was Willy Wonka. I
Interesting.
got when Willy Wonka's hosting the kids into Chocolate Factory, and he's like, and I'm going with the original Gene Wilder. I didn't see the
Mm-hmm.
remake, so I'm going
Same.
Gene Wilder's Wonka. But uh, there was moments when Gene Wilder also played it serious. When it went from being like, oh, this
You're
is a
right.
fun place, this is a game, and then he would get serious with a couple of kids every once in a while and be like, I know what you did. I saw you, Charlie. And he played it in a way where you're like, oh damn, this guy's not joking. Like I thought he was a fun playing, fun loving guy, and you can see that there's certain things that he get that piss him off. And I think that Dan Foley played it a little bit like that too, like where, hey, this is all fun and games, but also I got a job to do, and I'm serious about doing my job.
Yeah, that's a good point. By the way, so my first impression, I'm sure the pitch in the writer's room was, this is another one of those big swings. And this one was The Hangover. If you've ever seen the movie The Hangover, have you seen
Yeah.
that? Yeah, it's completely modeled after it. They're going to
They even
Vegas.
said hangover in the thing.
Right,
Yeah.
that's true. They're going to Vegas, and then they wake up and they're like, we have a mystery to solve. I mean, it's 100% Star Trek The Hangover. And it was obvious from the second that they wake up and dude is in a Mugatu costume.
Oh, Mugatu, yeah, that's right, Mugatu.
And we immediately go, I'm like, okay, I got it. It's The Hangover. And I'm here for it. I was like, this is great. I am very excited to watch a Star Trek Hangover episode. And I was not disappointed. I did laugh. I would say I probably laughed more at this episode than any episode of Strange New Worlds. I think I certainly found it to be the funniest, the one that and it moved quickly. It was well edited. It was well timed. It was well directed. It moved quickly. It just went from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. It was consistently and constantly entertaining and fast and funny and bright and colorful. And it just kept my mind focused on the episode. I just kept watching everything new hitting. There wasn't like the previous episode, horror moves slowly because it wants you to think things through. It wants you to say, what's going on here? Oh no, I think I understand. I get it. What's behind that door? This one just moved quick and it was just a ride. They wake up in the Mugatu suit and the Andorian ears. And from there, you're just buckled up for a wild and funny and weird and colorful ride. And I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but now I'm going to enter into my criticism. So
finally,
my biggest theme was this: Spock, who appeared to be the least affected by this, obviously was affected when we got to see through his eyes.
So
right?
funny.
So that was one thing, but visually, he appeared to be not affected. And everybody else appeared to be out of character. So this is basically, let's say, an act out of character episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a chance for your character to act out of character. So Mbenga is, Mr. Calypso, flipping drinks and bottles. Like, he's just like, he's a little bit out of his character. Chapel, I thought also, playing crazy bingo, psycho bingo girl. Like, that's out of her character.
Totally.
Pike, getting face tattoos and stuff like that. Again, weird and out of his character.
Weird.
Okay, but where was Ortega's and Scotty's weirdness. I didn't see their. I saw them in character, actually. As a matter
Yeah.
of fact, that was the whole story.
They
It was
were
them.
inebriated in character.
Yes,
Mhm.
which is kind of weird to me because it felt like I didn't get an alternate version of
I can
Ortega's or an
understand that.
alternate vision. I should have got Scotty drunk Scotty.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what I mean? And
we got high Scotty, I guess. I don't know.
yeah,
Hey, but that reminds me, there were two really big things that I want to bring up, but we got to take our break. So we'll bring that up. One of the characters, the way people were different characters and totally out of character, and you didn't name this one yet, but I want to bring this one up because it sinks in perfectly with exactly when this episode, basically when this episode drops, there's something in that episode that syncs up perfectly with this exact day. If that makes sense. We will be right back on the seventh rule. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the seventh rule with Sirach Lofton.
Hello.
Can you believe it? We have a very special guest joining us right now. It's Dendrew himself, Dave Foley. How are you, Dave?
I'm very well. So nice to get to talk to you guys.
So we were super excited because we're like, it's the dude from News Radio. It's the guy from Kids in the Hall. Oh my God. It's the guy from Lower Decks. But now it's also the guy from Strange New Worlds. It was so cool, Dave. By the way, it's so awesome and thrilling to meet you after being a fan of yours for like 3 decades already.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah.
But
we grew up watching you. I grew up watching you.
Speak for yourself. I didn't grow
Kids
up
in the Hall.
Yeah.
You know what? Coincidentally, I grew up being me.
It was a pleasure to watch you in this episode, though. I thought you did fantastic. You played with the character. I told Ryan it made me feel like it gave me like Willy Wonka vibes. How Gene Wilder played that character. It was just fun and a little bit serious sometimes.
Oh, cool! Wow, well, Gene Wilder is one of my heroes. So thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, Dave, I wanted to ask you too, by the way, there was something I noticed in this character. I felt like, and I could be way off on this, about 80% of the time I am. It felt like on the page, they wrote a fun and interesting and kind of lighthearted character, but there were moments where you kind of just slowed it down and got a little serious and kind of looked into their soul, and there was like a depth to it. I don't know if that was on the page or if you just said, let's give this guy a little bit more depth here.
It's hard to say. I mean, I know that I wasn't playing the character exactly as it was put on the page in a lot of ways. It was one of the things where I said, well, I don't know if this is right, but here's what I want to do. And I sort of did a first take on set, and nobody said stop doing it. So I sort of just kept going down that road. And so they gave me the, sort of the freedom to play with the character, because as soon as I got into the, the makeup and the wardrobe that they designed for it, it kind of just, that informed, who I thought the character was. I've always relied heavily on hair, makeup, and wardrobe to do a lot of the work for me. But it kind of just like the voice of it started to come out in a different way than I think it was intended. Yeah.
Interesting.
But definitely they seemed to like what I was doing, and and there were certainly a lot of people there with the authority to tell me to stop.
Well, this one was played for laughs. I think they take different approaches on Strange New World. Sometimes it's horror, sometimes it's it's a serious topic. This one seemed like this was going to be a playful, shore leave, getaway vacation. I felt like the gas of the atmosphere was some type of intoxicant, like going to see the dentist or something like that. But so yeah, I mean, it was playful, and you played it for laughs, but also did play the serious notes, which I enjoyed because it helped us learn more about the characters that we've grown to, love over these 4 seasons, especially with the Ortega's character kind of going at Scotty and you
Mhm.
playing the middleman between getting them rectified. I thought that was
Yes.
again, back to the nuanced performance. It's something I don't really, I don't see you that much in. I see you mostly in just pure comedy, but to
Mhm.
see you kind of take an approach of, leaning into the dramatic, the more serious moments, I enjoyed that.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, yeah, mostly, yeah, comedy is what I'm most known for. But yeah, but I think like with my group, the kids in the hall, I think we always approached comedy as though it should be treated as seriously as
Yeah.
dramatic acting. So we always thought, well, a sketch is at its funniest if the characters seem to be true to themselves.
Mhm.
So we never like we would always try to find like a core to the character that was believable. You know,
What
and
Mhm.
no
was your
matter how
feelings?
ridiculous it was.
What was your feeling about Star Trek going into this? Like before having worked with Star Trek, obviously you did Lower Decks, but just you know, what was your thoughts
Oh,
of the Star Trek world going into it?
oh, well, my God. I mean, I grew up on the original Star Trek. I'm
Nice.
63 years old, right? So I remember it in not in its very first run, but in its first round of syndication. I was watching it,
Yeah.
and me and my whole family, like that was like Star Trek was absolutely required viewing. And so starting at the age of about 6, I have been watching every episode over and over again for most of my life. And so I'm a, and so I'm, and then I was, I was a kid who like when I was in high school and the first Star Trek movie came out, I remember going to the theater with my girlfriend and being on the verge of tears the first
Mm.
time I saw the Enterprise in that
That
movie.
shot of the giant Enterprise, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's crazy to think now that at the time the series was only it was only 10 years in the past.
Mhm.
you know
Yeah.
but at that age 10 years seemed like an eternity. But yeah, the space between the show being canceled and being revived was a really short period of time.
Mhm. Well, that's really
um
cool. We're super excited that you're a Star Trek fan. I know that that's the first thing we always think about,
Yeah.
because
oh,
because
it shaped me.
it right. And if this is a thing where it's like you were super excited to get it, or if there was just another job, and it sounds like for you it was the former.
It was a dream come true. I mean, to me, yeah, I mean, Star Trek was my introduction to science fiction as social commentary.
Mhm.
um and that shaped how I thought about the world growing up, and how I approached everything in life was shaped by that notion. And actually, when I was on set, um, one day, I actually was FaceTiming with my daughter. She was at Sarah Lawrence at the time, and so I was FaceTiming with her as I was touring the set. And so I'm wandering through the bridge of the Enterprise when I'm talking to her. And my daughter said, "Dad, I don't think I've ever seen you this happy."
Mm. Wow, that's amazing.
You know,
Yeah, that set is remarkable. And what's interesting to me is that you're originally from, Ontario region in Canada, right?
yes, I
And
am. Yep, from the West
and
End of Toronto mostly.
okay, yeah. I forgot how to pronounce that. Auto
You mean
what?
Etobicoke?
Etobicoke, yes.
I never knew
That's
that
right.
one.
Yep, that's where I live.
Yeah.
Etobicoke, yeah. It's a difficult one if you're not from.
Yeah,
But
and
it's still near Toronto, right? I mean, it's still
well,
right
it's the
near.
West End. It's the West End of Toronto. It's the Western borough of Toronto.
Mm.
Yeah,
Kind of like Queens is part of New York.
right.
And it's and it's also where the Enterprise lives. The,
Exactly.
the
But
Enterprise
I'm
is
Beautiful.
out in
saying,
Etobicoke.
yeah. So when you were watching it, originally, the old days of the first syndication run, the Enterprise was then parked somewhere in Los Angeles, I think, right at
Yeah, on the
Paramount
Paramount lot.
Studios.
Yeah.
But it finally made its way over to you. Now, do you live in Ontario, in Canada, right now, or do you?
No, no, I live in New York City right now. I
Okay,
lived in LA for 27 years and moved to New York about 5 years ago.
Oh wow.
okay.
So it's been a long time since I've lived in Toronto, but
Mhm.
but it's still, it's still, I have, I have 2 kids, that still live in Canada, and I have my older brother and his family. In fact, my older brother lives only a few miles from the studio where they shoot Star Trek.
Oh, really? Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, I wanted to ask you. You touched on it just ever so slightly earlier, but this was something that, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I gotta ask Dave this. The makeup and the wardrobe. The makeup was amazing. The wardrobe was incredibly elaborate. Bernadette Croft, I believe. Can you tell us a bit about that? You said that it helped you get into character, of course, but can you talk, because for us, we're seeing it on a screen, but you get to see it really up close and personal. Can you tell us a little bit about the makeup and wardrobe?
Well, it was impressive. I mean, I've never gotten alien. Well, I'm trying to think I have done alien makeup on the Kids in the Hall show. But getting to play a Star Trek alien, and also coming in and like seeing the original drawings of the wardrobe, because the wardrobe wasn't even finished. They were just mock-ups and some of the sort of like prototype versions of it, and they were still making those costumes when I arrived. And it was like it sort of showed the, I got elements of what I thought the character was from what their ideas were, because there was a certain sort of galactic Hugh Hefner quality to the wardrobe, you know, and so that was like I was trying to think of, well, okay, well, how do I kind of play a hedonistic alien who's still alien, so it was like I'm looking at the clothes and going, all right, what do I do that's right for these clothes? What do I do that's right for this makeup? And then also, and as always, I'm always thinking, like, because I'm also a writer, so I always go, how do I best service the script? And Strange New Worlds, the scripts are fantastic. It's I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like I love all things Star Trek, but I think Strange New Worlds is my favorite of all of the new iterations of Star Trek.
High praise.
Yeah. And to me, it's the closest to the original series in structure, definitely, in that it's mostly self-contained storylines. But also I thought they did a very clever job of basically turning Pike into Kirk. And then over time bringing in every single character from the original series. So that appeals to me.
It's been really fun to watch that show. It's found its footing really well in the Star Trek catalog. I want to ask you about that VR wall, because it's a special thing to work with it. Not too many actors have ever even had a chance to see or film on one. Can you talk about being in that?
Well, I can tell you, I didn't shoot anything on the wall.
Wow!
I don't think I shot any scenes there. But on my day off, I asked if I could go in on the weekend when they were doing camera tests for the episode, and they were still picking up some pieces from a previous episode. So I said, "Can I go and they said, sure." They let me come in, and I spent like about 8 hours just wandering around and questioning everybody on set about what their jobs were and how it worked.
Fantastic.
And what are the the technical hurdles that you have to overcome every day when you're using the volume.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, actually, sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, we only have you for a couple minutes, but you know what? We're going to be seeing you in a couple of days on Sunday, August 9th in Las Vegas for your very first Star Trek convention ever. I hope you have like the best time of your, second to being on the bridge of the Enterprise. There's no way. But
I'm looking forward to it. I've had the great good fortune of becoming friends with a lot of the the Next Generation cast and and a lot of the folks that worked on Picard. So that's been that. So I'm excited to see those people, and one of my Nikki DeBoer is one of my old friends. She was on the Kids in the Hall show years and years ago.
Right, fellow Canadian.
What?
She played Bobby's girlfriend on Kids in the Hall, and she was also in our movie Brain Candy. and she's also a very dear friend of mine.
Well, she'll be
Oh
there.
wow.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
looking
we love
forward to
Nikki.
it.
She's an
Mhm.
amazing person, and
She
she did
is.
a
She's
fantastic
great.
job on
Mhm.
Deep
She's
Space Nine, which
fantastic.
was the show I was on. So yeah, I love Nikki.
Yes.
I didn't know you guys had all that time. Canada is big in Star Trek. I mean, we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for William Shatner,
That's
too,
right.
So
True.
he
Yeah.
he kind of carried the torch for a lot of us.
And James Doohan
Mhm.
lived in
Oh.
Canada.
That's right.
Now that I didn't
he was a
know.
Canadian citizen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Not Canadian born, but he he spent
He adopted
most
the
of his life.
country.
Yeah, he spent most
A
of his
lot
life
of the
in
actors
Canada.
too in the newer series as well, because it's shooting over there. So
Yes.
hire
Yeah.
local, work local. It's really cool. But
That's
Dave
smart.
Foley, man, we really appreciate this. This is like a thrill of a lifetime having you from our TV screens when we were kids to our computer screens when we just act like kids. Really
Yeah.
cool. Can't wait to see you at STLV in a couple days. Mr. Dave Foley, I hope you get way more roles in Star Trek to come. Thank you very much
You
for joining
too.
us.
Thank you so much. It's been delightful talking with you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys in Vegas.
Can't
We
wait.
will. We'll see
And
each other,
eventually seeing my episode of Strange New Worlds.
Right. Hopefully.
It's fantastic. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, we
Oh, good.
loved it. All right,
good. I'm so
everybody,
glad.
stick around. We've got a lot more coverage of this episode that we loved on the Seventh Rule. Well, hi there, everybody. Welcome back to the Seventh Rule with Sirach, the star of Starfleet Academy, Lofton.
Yeah, right. The guest star. Hello.
The guest star of Starfleet Academy. All right, here are the trivioids of the week. The Enterprise is on their way to the Rhodaxian system. Normally, Scotty doesn't complain. Scotty added an alert system. Scotty wakes up in a Mugatu suit. La'an is on a more spiritual journey. I love their use of the word journey over and over again. What was it that he said? Dave Foley's character, my journey is to help people along in their journeys. Spock hallucinates Kirk, or does he? Dr. Mbenga bartends and wings it. Captain Pike gets a tattoo of a horsey thingy. Ortega's calls Scotty Monty. Scotty has 6 brothers, 4 of whom are adopted. If you look hard enough, you'll always find some reason to be mad. And Spock sees plants. All right, so do you remember
Not Dr. Polanski.
when? No,
You said Palance. The way you said it was like Polanski.
Lance. Yeah, that's true. Do you remember in Next Generation when Data tries a green drink and they say, "What do you think of it? Do you like it?" And he goes, "It's green." Well, that happened again. They said, "What's this?" And then Mbenga says, "It's green." Right? It was the green drink that he made, which is clearly a reference to that. Well, again, those of you watching and are going to STLV, there is a beverage in the lounge stage called It's Green. So you can literally order the It's Green cocktail as seen in Next Generation and as seen right here and now in Strange New Worlds. Coincidence? Maybe. Here's the even bigger coincidence. This is feels like a STLV ad, but it's pretty amazing, this one. What was Una Chin Riley doing? She was singing karaoke.
Yeah.
And she was singing Klingon karaoke. She was singing Total Eclipse of the Heart. Rest in peace, Bonnie Tyler. She was singing Total Eclipse of the Heart in Klingon. She was doing Klingon karaoke. And this episode
drops. Is that song called Turn Around? Turn Around.
Well, it's called Total Eclipse of the Heart, but it is that one. Yeah, that's the exact one. And this episode drops on August 6th. And at STLV, August 6th, there is Klingon karaoke. So you can literally watch this episode. You can watch Klingon karaoke on Strange New Worlds. And that same day the episode drops, you can do Klingon karaoke with Klingons, Robert O'Reilly, and J.G. Hertzler, who played Gowron and Martok. Now, that's a crazy coincidence. And I, not to change the subject, but I just thought that was really cool and interesting and coincidental.
Wait a second. J.G. and Bob O'Reilly going to be doing Klingon karaoke?
Yes.
At this year's Star Trek...
on the day that this episode drops, yes.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. All right. That's pretty
Anyway,
big.
I just thought that was pretty
Who
awesome.
sang Total Eclipse of the Heart? Who sang that?
Bonnie Tyler, who actually just passed away a few weeks ago. She had an
Okay.
incredible voice.
Rest in peace, Bonnie Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
So this did bother me to some degree because I feel like we'll be hearing this song played at Klingon karaoke's for the
I thought the
foreseeable
same
future.
thing. Everybody's gonna and somebody did do it once. Somebody sang this song in Klingon before at Klingon karaoke. So you are right. It's just gonna encourage them.
It's going to encourage them. So this is going to haunt me for the next few decades.
Yeah.
Because you know, there's always a point. I don't know if there's a part of you that thinks this, but every time I'm listening to Klingon, I always think they're just making this up, right?
Oh yeah, there is a part of me that thinks that. My brain.
Yeah, because it feels like they're just saying clock, hawk, he, right, and it's just making up stuff, right? And it's like, but apparently there's people that can fact check you on
It's
your
legitimate.
Klingon,
It is legit, yeah.
so you have to say it the right way. So I can only imagine Rebecca Romaine sitting there like, "Are you serious? I've got to learn this."
And they're like, yeah, and you have a week to do it. I thought the same thing. I was like, she had the toughest job memorizing all that.
Yes.
That is not easy. And she killed it, by the way.
She did, because she was on beat for the rhythm of the song. I don't know the words that she's saying, but as far as the rhythm, she was on point. But yeah, I felt bad for her. I was like, gosh, I know. She was like, "Are you serious? Do I have to can I just wing it?" They're like, "No, there's actual people who know Klingon, and they'll write letters."
Klingon letters. Yeah. But anyway, that was really cool. I was actually really proud of her seeing that. And I also really liked Babs Olusanmokun for being a different kind of character, right? We've seen him before. I don't want to say struggle, but they kind of did him wrong in the singing and dancing episode. That poor guy was like, this is not I did not think that this was my job when I applied. It's like, he's like, hang on. I'm supposed to play, I thought I was playing the war hero doctor, but instead you got me saying that poor guy felt so out of his element. He did the best he could.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm not participating."
But in this one, seeing him like let his hair down in a different way actually really worked. He just seemed happy and fun and content and like in his element in an interesting way. And I was actually really happy for him too. I was like, wow, this looks like, it looked like he was having fun. It looks like they were just like, dude, just have fun with it. And he really did. I was actually really happy for him as an actor. Yeah.
And I saw Celia also had fun with her role.
She doing this kind of thing with her hand and whoops, like, but of course she killed that. Yeah.
She super killed it when she was like, "Okay, right now your energy is killing. Your vibe is off. Right now you sound like," and I was like, she's killing her performance in this, which I enjoyed because I always want to get more Uhura, you know?
Yeah, I felt like that was one of those things, not to interrupt you, but that took less preparation. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, she read the script and was like, oh, yeah, I got this. I got it. You know what I mean? Like, she read it and she was like, no sweat. This is going to be fun. I know exactly what I'm going to do. And it's going to be fun. And the directors are going to freaking love it. And I think she was right. But anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, no. So I just, you know, I got the whole hangover. You know, that's what they do with Star Trek, right? It's had a history of taking a certain thing that has come out and it'll redo it in its own way, right? We've seen that time and time again on Star Trek. I forgot which kind of episodes we redid on Deep Space Nine, but there were, you know, whatever movie was out that was popular, they would take it and adjust it to make it into a Star Trek episode. And we've seen that with Next Generation and all kinds of things now for a while. So this was the hangover of Star Trek, right?
Exactly that. Yeah.
It was clearly the hangover. Ironically, they started it like the hangover, where you kind of wake up into the hangover
Mhm.
and you're kind of backtracking to find out what happened. So it starts like the hangover starts. Also, the face tattoo that
Yes.
Pike got is almost identical to the face tattoo that Mike Tyson has in The Hangover.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So there was like a bunch of things like that where I thought, well, this is obviously a Hangover episode. And then they did the visual effects of different psychedelic vibes, which gave me kind of like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas type vibes, where you
That is a
alter
good movie.
it's a really good movie, yeah. But you alter the perspective or the feel of the audience by adjusting cameras and making things look distorted or whatnot. And that's how you get, the audience to feel the sensation of being also on some kind of intoxicant or stimulant or whatever
Yeah.
drug you're trying to.
It sets the mood for
portray.
us. It helps us out. It helps us to get into the right headspace. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I can't say I had any problems with this. The only thing I was thinking was, as far as the sets were concerned, you had Pike in some kind of like futuristic tattoo parlor, right? And you had Ortegas and Scotty waking up in some quarters that looked like got wrecked by, the Rolling Stones or something.
They had a sweet party.
Exactly.
And that was a sweet, sweet, by the way.
It was a sweet, and it looked like a good party to wake up from. That's how you want to do it. But again, my biggest criticism was they took their attitude and their beef and the same kind of friction that they had on the station or on the ship. They carried that over onto the party island, which is supposed to be giving you toxic gases of a euphoria. And I'm like, well, how does that translate where you basically are still in the same argument, still having the same fight, and I don't see a switch. It'd be different if they were arguing intoxicated in some way. One looks like he's drunk, and the other looks like
they were saying that it didn't really affect her as much. They had an explanation for that, at least. I would have been okay seeing her get hammered too, though. I would have thought that's funny, Like, I enjoyed watching everybody be weird and funny. I didn't need a straight man. I didn't need, somebody to be.
Yeah.
But
she could have totally cussed out Scotty in her intoxicated self, because clearly they were kind of withholding the way they felt about each other. And it took the situations and circumstances that they wrote into the episode to kind of get them to reveal, hey, look, I grew up with 6 brothers, and yeah, I'm sometimes an asshole, and, that kind of conversation. But that could have came out in the altered state of those characters, where Ortegas is like, what, I'm just tired of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
just has a blow
absolutely.
Up moment. Or a drunk moment where she's openly, talking about this guy's always da 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 da. And there you get the conflict coming out to a head in an intoxicated or euphoric state or something altered. The facts of the matter seem to me like they were the only 2 normal characters that I did get a little bit from Scotty, but I mean, he looks kind of like he's on something all the time anyways. So.
Yeah, it's the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's the thing. I mean, one thing I liked about those two, that couple there, is at the end, Ortegas goes and like delivers something to the engine room or whatever it was, right? Engineering. And she sees the destruction and the mayhem she causes for pushing it, right? I think, what was the line where she said something like, oh, is this what happens every time I push it or something like that? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, oh. And she finally, no offense, but I'm like, good. I'm glad she feels a little bit guilty that like she just thinks she's hot dogging it, but she doesn't realize she's pissing off 10 coworkers, right? Like, she's actually being extremely selfish and unsafe and rude, but Scotty was a little too passive aggressive. He's like, I'll put an alert. When he could have just said, hey, are you aware that when you do this, all this bedlam happens,
And I got to
but
clean it up.
instead, now, of course, the alert is hilarious because he's just like, why is she doing that? I'll put an alert. That'll tell her. And she's like, why is he giving me an alert? Like, that's so condescending. You know what I mean? So they're just completely missing each other on this. But I love that she saw that and was like, oh, okay, maybe I should be a little cooler about that. My bad. You know what I mean? And so I really like that. I like that we had that moment.
I wish that Riker had this moment for the holodeck that he kept using, and that the guy who had to clean out the bathroom kept saying, look what I have to do every time you're in here.
Yeah. And then Riker was like, yeah, and here's I just dried my hands. Here, take that. Thank you. Just toss it. The trash is over there. Can you open the door for me too? I don't want to. I just wash my hands.
Already clean, as you can see.
Don't make me elbow it. So okay. Other moments that cracked me up.
Yeah.
Spock every time. Spock was a killer.
Every time.
Spock was a killer. When he comes out, when they're off the planet and they're in the ship, and they're like trying to warn about Ortega's trying to warn about the bomb. He comes out into the hallway and the corridors, and he goes, I heard about the avocado. That is brilliantly written, because we got it immediately. As soon as he said, I heard about the avocado, we get it. One person whispers to one drunk person. The game of telephone. And by the time it gets to him, it's an avocado. And then he's like, but I was able to deduce that maybe it was a bomb, but I heard avocado. So this was very funny.
No, and then he goes on to say, but actually, I thought you were thinking about a bomb, which was like, how did you reverse engineer
he pieced it. What about when they were saying formal hello and formal I'm sorry and all that stuff? This was also, who was it that wrote this? Catherine Lynn.
Yeah.
This was very funny. I wonder if she might have been the same person that did the Freaky Friday episode. I always forget what that one's called, where Spock and T'Pring switch bodies, because this was very fun. There was a lot of smart humor in it, like that formal hello thing and formal I'm sorry. That's funny. That's very clever.
Yeah, I like Spock the most, though, when he says, like, obviously I am entirely incapacitated. Like,
yeah. Or what was it that they said? When he said, obviously I'm, intoxicated, and they said something like, you don't show it at all. And he said preposterous or something like ridiculous. I don't remember the word he said, but it cracked me up. You are still hilarious. A plant.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. And then he did a mind meld with a plant.
Yeah.
My mind to your leaves. There was just a lot of stuff in there that I thought was the only thing I didn't really like. And it wasn't that I didn't like it. I just didn't like the way it was shot, or, you know what I mean? And that was the bingo scene with Nurse Chapel. I wish that.
Yeah. Where did it go? They turned into like vampire monsters. By the way, the word was absurd when they said, Spock said completely inebriated state. And then Ortega says, you seem totally fine. And he goes, absurd, which was funny. But anyway, back to that bingo.
The bingo scene kind of went left for me. I was like, it turned into like Resident Evil or something. It turned into like, I like, what is this going on? You know what I mean? It didn't match the rest of the episode for me.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way?
Yeah. And I think that was on purpose. I think they're just trying to say, expect the unexpected. We're going to go, to use Spock's word, absurd. This was an absurd episode. They went totally absurd. It was almost as if a British person wrote it, like that absurd British humor, like the Monty Python stuff, where they're like, okay, so hear me out. So Chapel is playing bingo, and then she gets mad at people, and they get mad at her, and then they turn into vampire monsters, and then La'an's gang comes out and destroys them, Kill Bill style, and they're like, that's just absurd. That is the right kind of absurd. Sold. Book it.
Yeah. that's weird to me because again, again, you're going to a place that is supposed to be, I guess, a destination for all of your, inhibitions and for pleasure, a pleasure place, right? And you go to a pleasure place like Riza, for example,
Mhm.
and you're playing bingo. Like that's what it got you into, like, or I guess it got Spock sitting in a room by himself with talking to imaginary Kirk or not
And
imaginary
then it
Kirk. I
turned out
don't
to be
know.
a real Kirk. I was like, that was weird.
So yeah, so that's the part that's not consistent for me. Like, hey, if this is the place that turns your wildest dreams into reality, or if it's a place that gets you so inebriated off of some kind of substance that it turns you into somebody who's intoxicated or under the influence of something, then I would expect the circumstances to facilitate that. Like,
Mhm.
okay, you like to party and hang out. Guess what? We're going to give the gas. Will get you in that mental state, and then we also have casinos and this and that, right? And whatever kind of adult entertainment. But bingo, we got a bingo hall with zombies, and we've got a. And I mean, it kind of was a little bit all over the place. In that scene took it a little bit farther out than I needed it to be. It kind of expanded the scope of it to vampires and stuff like that, where I didn't need it to really be there. It was okay just staying where it was.
Yeah. Absurdity. Another one was when Spock says, when they're like, hey, do you know where La'an is? And he's like, oh, she had a different kind of journey. Hers was much more serious or something like that. And they're like,
Yeah,
she sounds like is she scarier when she's like that? And he's like, much scarier. like
that was funny.
they really,
Yes,
they really understand how to make Spock funny. And Ethan Peck really understands how to make Spock funny. And the key is don't act funny. Just the same way as Data. Data was funny because Brent Spiner trusted us to know what Data is going through
yeah,
internally. And that's what Ethan Peck does. And that's what the writers do. There is a perfect marriage right now between the writers and Ethan Peck on how to create Spock. I
yeah.
feel like there's a perfect marriage. They write it perfectly. He performs it perfectly. And we watch and we go, oh my God, Spock, you're killing me right now. You are so
Yeah.
freaking funny and innocent and adorable
He's
and
he, he's
and
he's literally,
naive. You know what I mean? It's just so funny,
well,
dude.
again, he gets to play the character that we like so much, which is
Yeah.
like the guy who has to fit in type character that Data was playing on Next
Also,
Generation.
he's playing the coming of age story for a character
Yes,
we already love in the future. We love Leonard
yes,
Nimoy Spock, and now we're watching his coming of age. It's
and
really
I love
cool.
Ethan Peck Spock. I have to say,
Yep,
his
me
Spock
too. It's
is
fantastic.
is fantastic. The moments there, for example, when Kirk slaps him, he's like, "Come on, get it together," and he slaps him,
And
and
he
then he
goes,
says, "Want another one?" And he's
he's,
like, "I,
I
I
do
do not."
not. That was so good because he delivers it like, I do not. Like he takes everything at face value. Do you want another one? I do not. It's so
But it
good.
was so funny because it's like, no, the
I
way he
didn't
said
like
it
the
was
first
hilarious.
one.
I didn't like that first one. So that was a great delivery by Ethan because when he said that, I was rolling. Uh, and then another thing, when Dan Foley said this, I thought was hilarious. It had me rolling. Again, this episode had laughs, so there were good laughs in this episode. I have to give him credit for that. And it was also a lot on deliveries from the actors. So
Yeah,
kudos to the actors who took small lines and just made it. I do not is not that funny, but the way he said it was hilarious.
absolutely.
And then another line that was funny, what Dan Foley said when he says, he's introducing the planet and he's on that commercial essentially for the planet, and he says, "Hey there, I didn't see you there." Just kidding, I did.
Nah, it was good.
I don't know what. Oh yeah, when Dave Foley said that, it made me laugh because it was like, it was like, yeah, I didn't see you there. Just kidding. I did.
Yeah.
And
He's messing
I
with you,
don't know.
man.
It was already off top messing with me. So I thought that was hilarious. And he said something about icky farts.
Yeah, I
You know,
saw
he's
that.
like,
Yeah, that was him too. Icky farts. I was like, did I just hear fart for the first time in Star Trek history? It took 1,000 episodes, and we finally got to hear the word fart. And Dave Foley
with
of
icky in
Kids in
front
the
of it, by the way.
Yeah, as if there are some juicy, delicious farts. Only, oh no. No, this is not one of those good farts there. This is an icky one. Thank you for specifying. Oh, thank God. Now I know to stay away.
Yes.
All right. Speaking
Yeah.
of staying away, who gets the home run of today's episode? Boom.
You know what? It's really hard because, like, I did love. I liked the way Dave Foley came in there and like
Mhm.
stole the show on his scenes, but Ethan Peck makes me laugh. He just makes me laugh, and he even showed this episode really wasn't an Ethan episode. It wasn't a Spock episode, but
Mm-mm.
those moments that he has jumps out so much at me. Even when he says, "I'd like you to be my human best friend," which is like I don't think we call it that. Like,
Yeah.
but like there's just moments there, and so yeah, I'm gonna say Ethan Peck.
You know, unfortunately, Sirach, you're not going to like this, but I have to break it to you that we're starting to think alike.
Oh gosh,
It's really close between the writer Catherine Lynn, who I think really killed it, made a great episode, and I think the director also did a great job of bringing those words to life. But by a hair, by a hair on the forehead plastered on there, I got to go with Ethan Peck because he was perfect. He was really good, and he's really good at being funny without acting funny. You know, like he gets it. He's really good. And it's about time that the world finally got to see what a great actor Ethan Peck is. And I'm really happy for him that he has such a great connection with what's written on the page. And I think the writers do him a great service. And I think he does the show a great service. And I'm really happy about that home run.
And let me add just really quickly to that. I can very much see him starring in a romantic comedy.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He's got the timing for it. He's got just maybe with a guy that's like socially,
Yep.
a little bit autistic or on the spectrum, and he could kill a romantic comedy like that, where he gets that deadpan humor, that whole like I don't get it, but this is funny joke,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he could easily kill. So whoever's out there, I think that's a good investment to invest in Ethan in one of those films. I think that's going to do well.
I agree.
This was a funny episode. It squeezed a few laughs out of me. Even when Pike says USS Christopher Pike, I was like, "Is that the shit?"
So here's some other people that get some laughs out of us. Their names are Dr. Anne-Marie Siegel, Eve England out in Wales, Yvette Blackman Tom, TJ Jackson Bay out in Missouri, Titus Moeller, Anil O. Palat, Joe Balsarati, Mike Gu, Dr. Stephanie Baker, Carrie Schwent, Faith Howell, V. Matt Boardman, Chris McGee, Jake Barrett, Henry Unger, Allison Leach Hyde, Julie Manosfi, Jed Thompson, Dr. Susan V. Gruner, Glenn Iverson, Dave Gregory, Cassandra G. Mark Zutkoff, Chris Garris, Linda Pages, Steve Case, Stephen Monk, Jonathan Capps, and of course, Jason M. Oken. All right, everybody.
Turn around.
That's it. Stuck in our head forever. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for notifications, and visit us at patreon.com. We had a lot of fun with you, and we can't wait to see you again. And until next time, always remember the 7th rule.